who consider themselves to be very educated are offended with simulation theory. They're offended with the fact that I am showing. They don't want to attack my sources. I haven't had anybody go check my sources and tell me that I'm wrong. They attack my conclusion. But my conclusions are simple.
Mm-hmm.
The history of the world exhibits the traits of a mathematical construct because the events that I have recorded are too perfectly precise that there is no way they could have ever happened naturally. And because I'm only looking at these things as an observer ex post facto from now looking into the past, then there's a really good chance none of those events ever happened. But I have to study it anyway because someone wanted me to believe these things. So what is the real message that they're hiding? This is why I study history, not because I believe those events occurred, because I believe that the truth is found in the construct itself. Where we are going is found out by where we have been presented to have been. I've isolated so many things about the past that had to have been artificial, could not have been real.
Right.
So by isolating those things and being able to put them aside, I can now remove all the dressings and dross and just look at the architecture of arithmetic that's left behind, which is calendars. And if we were ever imprisoned by anything, it is timekeeping systems. This is what I have found over and over and over. And this is why I find it so unusual that people from intelligent backgrounds, people who consider themselves to be very educated, are taking offense over the fact that I believe that not only is our history artificial, but every time you go in your backyard and you look up, you're looking into a multi-tiered hologram. None of that's there. It's there for you to believe it's there. You are inside a very beautiful construct, but that construct is deceitful. This is what we have to pay attention to, because there's an old saying, and I know you've heard it, the devil is in the details.
Yes.
So listen, it's not as simple as everything being artificial. It's not that simple.
Right.
We have to study the things that basically promote that artificiality by such a convincing, basically, let me reword this.
Mm-hmm.
When we look into the sky, it's not just a bunch of random patterns by which we could build a construct. The patterns have a focus. That focus shows me an intent. This is the problem I have. And here's another weird thing. I get a lot of flack from flat earthers. Figure that one out.
Really? Those people?
I trigger flat earthers on a daily basis. Listen.
I'm surprised.
Hold on, check this out. And this goes in with what I'm talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, flat Earth research is going to take you to a destination. In order to get to that destination, you're going to find all kinds about you're going to learn about the Morley experiments. You're going to learn about zetetic astronomy. You're going to sooner or later you're going to come into contact with Eric Dubai's information. You're going to read Gleason. I have Gleason right here. This is Gleason's book from 1890s right here.
Oh,
Gleason,
wow.
In the 1890s, this book is absolutely packed with scientific experimentation showing that there is absolutely no mathematical evidence of curvature anywhere in our world. This is nothing but an entire book of science from the 1890s.
Oh,
and the way men thought back then are not like today.
Right.
So you would think a lot of people from the flat Earth community would be on board. Okay?
Right. I would think, yeah.
To me, flat Earth it's basically a conduit. It's not the destination, because the more you fall in love with the flat Earth concept and you fully embrace embrace it, you're stuck in a dome. There's nowhere to go. You have completely imprisoned yourself within an intellectual construct that is right in everything that you assert, everything that you can show. All your experiments have imprisoned you. There's nowhere else to go. You can't come up with a cosmology that can even come up with why that dome is there. What's under the dome? How did the dome get there? When things pass in and out of the dome, as we know from the historical record has happened, where are those portals and those gates? And a portal necessarily infers the existence to another realm. So flat Earth is an end. It is not a means. So I've left it. I have totally abandoned it. I'm on board. Mathematically, we live on a flat plane. I'm good with that. Mathematically, the entire realm of the sky is dome-shaped, and it's a holographic projection. We may be trapped inside the inside of a Dyson shell, and the entire solid Dyson shell We might be here and the Dyson shell's out here and everything in between is holographic projection of a cosmos that's absolutely beautiful. So technologically advanced that the more we study it with a telescope, the further we see, the more it feeds us, because that's all it's doing. It's feeding us light photons, and we're interpreting that as more worlds, more universes, more galaxies, more quasars, more pulsars, all that. So now, flat earthers, they get triggered, but I've moved away from that.
Okay.
In simulation theory, I'm baffled that people haven't made the connection yet. Okay, the sun is not a diamond. The sun is not it's not a trigon. The sun is not any oblate shape. It's not egg shaped. The sun is circular. I'm not going to say a sphere because I haven't seen the other side of it, but it's circular. Okay, the moon is the same way. Okay, the greatest hint flat earthers need to pay attention to, the greatest hint is that from the surface of our world, we have only ever seen one side of the moon. That one side of the moon never changes. Therefore, the moon is it's not spinning, it's not rotating, it's not doing it. It's fixed. It's going over. The second clue is if an object in geometry is not moving and rotating and fixed, how in the hell is it producing lunar phases? Why do we see the crescent that's supposed to be the reflection of sunlight? And when the sun is in a certain position, we see the crescent gets bigger and bigger. When the sun is more away from its position, the sliver gets smaller and smaller.
Right.
We have a holographic projection that is emanating a lie. It is because the moon does not reflect light. It has already been conclusively shown by many researchers that it's a luminary and that it's producing light. And the light it produces is negative. That light has a negative feel toward plants. It's like a black light, but it shows up optically to us as very bright. But that is not reflected solar light. The sunlight is totally different. Moonlight has a dark aspect to it, almost like a sinister aspect to it. It's like a negative type light that's still optically shown through the central nervous system. It's very, very unusual. But the moon is projecting light, and there have been examples when people photographed the moon, and the dark part of the moon in the photograph, stars were showing through it. That means it's a hologram. And for some reason, from that one vantage point, that hologram wasn't solid on that side to block out what was behind it. Because in the hologram further away were more luminaries. Because that's my theory, that the stars are on a tier of holography that is higher than the sun and the moon. And then there's other objects that are on another tier of holography that's even higher, which gives us our dimension. Two different holographic overlapping fields that give us this great dimension of a cosmos and all that. But it's all holography. It's all technologically advanced. Right. This is not a natural creation. This is extreme technology. That moon, the phases, every flat earther in the world should be trying to figure out why there are phases in the moon, because it doesn't work with the sun and the moon going, because many times the sun and the moon are in the sky at the exact same time. That model of a flat earth and the sun and the moon does not work with those lunar phases.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't make flat earthers wrong.
Right.
Flat earthers are completely right. Mm-hmm. But Charles Fort said it best: who would not be a prize marksman if only his hits be recorded? Mm-hmm. So if there are genuine mysteries that you're ignoring because you can't explain them, then you're not a real researcher.
Right.
You're a fundamentalist. It's simple as that.
That's a good point.
This is my position.
Yeah.
I can't answer for it. I can't answer. I can't tell the flat earthers, hey man, this is the answer. This is the reason. I can't. All I know is that we're living in a simulated environment. And the reason I'm so sure about this is because the all is present in its parts. This is true throughout all nature. The all is present in its parts. If any one aspect of our existence has ever been shown by anybody to be simulated, then that necessarily imputes that everything that we're going through is simulated as well. If any one cell in the human body has the entire genome for the mapping of the entire genetic host, the body itself, then that means the all is present in its parts. What is applicable to any one aspect of our existence is applicable to all. Right. So when you truly absorb that concept and you understand it, The same thing applies to the human race. Every single thing that I assume to be true about Jason Brashears is also true about Jennifer Eason, is also true about all these other, because we're all like fractals. We're all like pieces of divinity in and of ourselves. We are not the whole. We're just a part of it. But all of us together form the whole. The construct we're in would be the very same way. And this is why the lunar phase question is very important.
Right.
If that object's not physical, if it's, some of you guys claim it's plasma, and that's fine. But you can't claim it's plasma and tell me that it's reflecting sunlight at the same time, and tell me in your other researches that it's actually a luminary and it's emanating light. Well, if it's emanating light, then who wrote in the deception about lunar phases? You follow me?
Right.
Why would it be trying to convince all the observers that it's reflecting sunlight if it's emanating light? This means the construct we're in is deceptive. Now apply the philosophy that I just told you. If any one part is shown to be deceptive, it's all deceptive.
Gotcha. That makes sense.